Hey guys, I made a short a while ago talking about how anti-Mormons will just recycle old arguments, and they make it very obvious that they just Google quick lists um, of responses to LDS religion or whatever to make their point seem like it's really amazing. And they'll go through all sorts of stuff. They'll like upload huge lists of stuff, but I just wanted to point out in my video, I made the point that anti Mormons are not interested in learning the truth. They don't care. They just want you to be wrong, and they're willing to do anything they can to prove that. Um, Now, normally I don't get involved in bashing. I've done it a lot on the internet, and it just never works out. Like neither party is ever convinced. Both sides just end up leaving, like agree to disagree, or even worse, that just one guy just stops talking, which is what I'm going to be doing to this person. I've tried to remove his name as much as possible from this so that but you can clearly find his comments easily if you go to my videos. So what we're going to look at here is I'm just going to show you how antis get things so wrong. And I'm gonna I'm not proving anything. I'm not like backing this up with sources. I will direct you to sources, because I feel like this is out there enough that quick Google searches reveal that this guy's wrong. um, which is funny because he's trying to say that quick Google searches prove I'm wrong, but it actually, anything he says here, a quick Google search will show that he's not being completely accurate. So as a little backstory, I had published a video called Prophetic Infallibility, which was a misleading title. The video is all about how prophets are completely fallible. Um, and just real quick, we can go, let's see if I have it pulled open. Um, let's see. I should have. Ah, Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 20, and it says, "But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that he shall speak in the name of God, even that prophet shall die." So I guess he would be like, "Oh, Joseph Smith made a false prophecy. He's gonna die, and he got murdered. There's proof." Okay, well then, what happened to Brigham Young and all of the other prophets? Why have they not died? Brigham Young has surely made some prophecies. That's not actually the verse I wanted to talk about. Um, so down here in verse 22, it says, "When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him." This is not saying that everything prophets say is factual. It's actually saying the opposite. It's saying if a prophet says something and it doesn't happen, that means he wasn't being prophetic when he talked about it. Um, and this comes up immediately in this guy's comment. This guy doesn't realize how funny he's being. So the video is all about how prophets are not infallible, and he didn't even watch the video and just immediately starts. "You said the test of a true prophet is 100% accuracy." No, I didn't. My video is all about how prophets are not 100% accurate. So from this is his opening statement, by the way. His opening statement shows he didn't even watch the video, which I think just shows the culture of anti-Mormonism so well. These guys are not interested in learning. They don't care. They don't want to know anything. In fact, I'm going to make a really misleading title for this video as well and see if he comments on here and says something preposterous again. And then I'm not going to respond because I just, like, if you watch this video, please go down in the comments, and if there's a guy in there being like, and it doesn't seem to match with anything I'm talking about, there's your hint. Anyway, he falsely translated the Book of Abraham from Egyptian papyri. Modern Egyptologists, including non-Christians, agree the papyri are ordinary funerary texts, not Abraham's writings. So the key issue here is that, yes, he is absolutely correct. people, Egyptologists have looked at the Book of Abraham, and they looked at the surviving papyri from the Chicago fire, and they have stated, as a matter of fact, the Book of Abraham is not included in them. The problem with that statement is Joseph Smith has lots of records detailing that he was actually translating from a larger sheet of papyri, one that is not found in the surviving documents from the Chicago fire, which means the Book of Abraham that the Egyptologists could have checked burned in the fire of Chicago and the Chicago Museum fire, whatever, way back in the day. Not a lot of people know that because the anti-Mormons don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that there's actually more documents that Joseph Smith translated from. And we're going to jump the gun here. There's also the facsimiles, and modern Egyptologists have indeed looked at the facsimiles and said that's not what they say. These are funerary texts, blah, 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 blah. However, modern Egyptologists, both LDS and non-LDS, have looked at the facsimile that we have in the Book of Abraham, or the Pearl of Great Price, and have noted that it does not look like the other funerary papyries. So this is one of those cases where it's like, sure, they say it doesn't match, but we also don't know if it matches the funerary text or not. And large portions of it are missing, that were filled in, and the bits that are filled in definitely don't match the ancient records we have that are not that were not in the church's possession. So like an average one. So basically, he's talking about a debunked thing here. This has been completely debunked. And his AI doesn't know this because AI is trained on what the majority of people are saying. So yeah, he's quote, and this, if you don't notice, this is definitely ChatGPT. This is definitely ChatGPT, and I know because I use Copilot all the time, and I know what the structures of Copilot look like. This is the Deuteronomy thing. We copied that. We already covered that. The Bible is not infallible. That argument collapses under scrutiny. The Bible is supported by over 24,000 ancient New Testament manuscripts with remarkable agreement, plus Dead Sea Scroll evidence confirming the Old Testament transmission. Yeah, like I'm not saying the Bible's not reliable. Like I read the New and Old Testament. What we don't have are the books that are missing. And the Bible itself references books that are missing in the Old Testament. Jesus and John quote from books that are missing in the New Testament. It's not really that the books we have that are unreliable, it's that there's books missing that detail things in greater whatever. Meanwhile, the Book of Mormon has no verified manuscripts, no archaeological confirmation, no evidence for Nephite language, in pre-whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, first point, no verified ancient manuscripts. Duh. The gold plates were given to Joseph Smith were found by Joseph Smith in the Hill Cumorah. They were given to him by Moroni. Moroni took them later. They definitely are not here. We do not have an ancient record to look at. No one's denying that. That's not actually like the fiery dart you think it is. The second point here that I want to get to is we definitely know Joseph Smith had the plates. We know he had the plates. We know they had ancient looking writing on them. Even the people who later fell away from the church confirm that while they don't know what the writings say, the plates definitely had ancient writing on them. We know, I'm not going to say for a fact because there's a high possibility, but most historians, non-LDS and LDS, have concluded that Joseph Smith definitely had some sort of artifact. And historians who are interested in the psychological side of things also confirm that Joseph Smith believed he had something. He was not trying to fool people. He legit thought that he had an ancient record. No archaeological confirmation for its massive civilizations. Mesoamerica, LIDAR data just in 2024 has revealed that the populations in Mesoamerica could support millions of people. So yes, we do have archaeological confirmation that there were massive civilizations in the Americas. No evidence for Nephite language, coinage, cities, steel, horses, or Hebrew culture in pre-Columbian America. Yeah, we don't have evidence, but we have found cities. And just because the cities don't say Zarahemla on them does not mean that those aren't the cities. So, unfortunately, he's technically correct, but also technically wrong. We might have knowledge of Nephite cities right now. Like, if you look on the wall behind me here, don't look at the bras. um, you can see I've detailed where I think it is in Mesoamerica. This is an older map. This isn't an accurate one. I've since had different ideas, but Tikal is on there. El Mirador is on there. Chichen Itza is on there. We might have discovered Book of Mormon cities yet. And archaeologists in Mesoamerica have all said that we've discovered less than 10%, and I think less than 5% of what there is to discover down there. We just don't know. And then he's talking, this is about whatever. But everyone's confused on the saved by works, saved by grace things. We do not believe in saved by works. I'm a member. I've been a member for over 20 years. We don't teach that works get you to heaven. The biblical gospel is Christ saves sinners who abandon their quest to become God and instead trust alone in his atoning love on the risen Lord. This is not true. Acts teaches that people who accept Christ can become co-inheritors of everything that God has to offer, which would be becoming God. You can assert that there. This first line, false. This second one, this is all completely true. So, like I said in my short, anti-Mormons take little bits of truth and then expand them into things that aren't true and try to pass it off. Anyway, so I give a message. I say, hey, you didn't even watch the video. He comes back with another retort. And I come back, thank you for your opinion. Your hilarious trained AI arguments are a funny addition. That's a little repetitive there. I shouldn't have said that. And then I said, please continue commenting because, frankly, he's helping my channel grow. And I appreciate that. Thank you, person, for helping my channel grow. And then he accused me of running from it. He's like, yeah, and I somehow that got deleted here. But there's a comment where he's like, you're just running from the issues. It's like, I haven't run from anything. You haven't put forth a valid argument. To which he says, there's no ancient text for the Book of Mormon. I have already covered that. It claims to be ancient history. That's fine. Just because there's no evidence of something doesn't mean it didn't happen. There is no evidence whatsoever that anyone is capable of walking on water, and yet all of us Christians believe that Jesus walked on water. Joseph Smith instituted polygamy with teen girls and women, some of whom were already married. Joe claimed that this was required for the highest heaven. I cover this in my comment, but I'm not going to read my comment. I'm just going to cover this real quick. I've already covered this top part. Joseph Smith instituted polygamy with multiple teen girls and women. Okay, at the time, 17 was not considered teenager. So, yes, by today's standard, it was multiple teenage women. Fine. And some of whom were already married. Absolutely. The problem is the polygamy that you're talking about is he's having sealings with these women, and he's not getting married to some of them. And we don't exactly know the details. But what we do know for a fact is that no children resulted from any of these extra marriages that he had, especially the 14-year-old girl that he married. The 14-year-old girl he married was completely political in nature, in that family trying to tie their family to Joseph Smith's family under the false notion that that somehow would get their families something in the next life. We've since had revelations that reveal that this isn't true. But that's like, people make mistakes. It's fine. Like, nobody is perfect. And I do want to point out that yes, by today's standards, that is totally abhorrent to be being married to teen women. He was being sealed to teen women. I'm sealed to my children, so I guess I'm being a I don't, are you trying to put that standard on me and my children as well? Because I'm not doing anything weird with my children. They are just my children, and I'm sealed to them. Um, anyway, but he did have it with multiple married women. Those cases have almost always been shown up to be just sealings, which means married in the next life, but not this one. And this is always because their husbands were non-members who were not going to join the church and were not going to receive the blessings needed to receive exaltation. We've since instituted baptisms for the dead and sealings for the dead, and almost certainly they will be back with their regular husbands. Because we've had modern prophets affirm to us multiple times that there is not going to be any weird, uncomfortable family situations in the next life. Everyone will be completely satisfactorily fine with everything that they've got going for them. You do not need to worry about weird polygamous marriages in heaven. Everything will work out the way it is supposed to. Joseph Smith claimed this was required for the highest heaven. He did not. I'm going to pause and look it up real quick. All right, so we're in D&C 132, and he's claiming that our doctrine is that you must marry multiple people in order, like a man must marry multiple women in order to attain the highest levels of heaven. And I'm just going to summarize this, but you can look at this, verses 14 through 18 through 19, all the way down to 20. And again, if a man marry a wife by my word, it says a. It does not say multiple. It says a, which is my law, and by the new and everlasting covenant sealed to them the Holy Spirit of promise, blah, 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 blah. Then they shall be gods, because they shall have no end there. So this is everlasting to everlasting. So this is saying people who, a man and a woman, if they are married, they are into the highest levels of heaven. Clear down here. I think it's in like 32 or something. All right, so clear down here in 37, and down here like 34 and on, just anything down here. He's talking about having multiple wives. However, the problem is none of this says that is part of the new and everlasting covenant. It does mention the new and everlasting covenant. If a man receiveth a wife in the new and everlasting covenant, and if she be with another man, I have not appointed unto you, she hath committed adultery. So it is mentioning what is made clear here is that the everlasting covenant is between one man and one woman. And what's being said is that one man can have that covenant with multiple women. It is not saying that you have to have it with multiple women. And so basically this guy is trying to say that polygamy is required. It's not. Polygamy is not required. In fact, in Utah, during the time where all of this was being practiced, and despite prophets trying to get people to practice polygamy by saying they should, like Brigham Young said that men should have multiple wives, and he did tie it to the gospel, but he did not state that in a prophetic tone. He was not being a prophet at that time. He was doing a personal opinion. He's not lying because he believes that that's true. So he's not lying, but he's also not correct. Joseph Smith never taught this. Anyway, so there's that. So he's completely wrong. So I state that in this comment. I even gave him sources to show the scholarly efforts being made on my part, because this man has actually talked to me before, and he's always made the claim that I don't know anything about church history and that he knows everything about church history, except I've just demonstrated that he clearly doesn't. Yeah, and then his response is down here. His response: thank you for admitting that you do not have any ancient text for the Book of Mormon. The LDS Church admits in the Gospel topic essays that there's no specific evidence. I never said there was no evidence. I just said we didn't have the original text anymore. It's supposed to return to us at some point. Teen brides married to 30-year-old men was unusual. Let's Google this real quick. I'll open up a tab. Let's go to Whoops, I forgot get my keyboard. Google.com. I need to pause this because I do have 10 minutes. All right, so I Googled, was it normal for teen brides to be married to older men in the 1830s? And the AI overview, just right off the bat, while teen brides were not uncommon in the 1830s, marrying significant older men was not the standard norm, though it occurred. They were not pedophiles, okay? Like, this is not, he's trying to say it absolutely was unusual. Sure, it wasn't the norm, but it wasn't like taboo. Anyway, so yeah, like this guy doesn't do any research, and he has an AI that tells him stuff, and then he has that sent to me. Anyway, and then he lists all these people. Helen Mar Kimball, that is the teen bride that I have been referencing. Age at ceiling 14, daughter of Heber C. Kimball. This is the one, and it is definitely the best documented. You can do research on this, and please do. There was never any consummation of this marriage. It's highly plausible that it was just a sealing, and it's detailed in many journals that Heber C. Kimball, well, maybe not many, but it is detailed in journals that Heber C. Kimball was trying to tie his family to Joseph Smith's with this. It was a political thing, not a sexual thing. And then he's here's Nancy married at 14 to 16, uncertain. Well, then don't list it because we don't know. Lucy Walker, 17, 17, 17, 17, 19, 19. Those aren't teens. Those are adults by today's standards. So he initiated preliminary marriage secretly. Yes, he did. Married multiple teens. He married that one. And then if you count 17 at the time as a teenager, then yes. I don't think you can Google that one on your own. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I've already proven that it was not unusual. Linked it to external covenants provided by and priesthood structures. Sure. I'm not even sure what that means. Embedded it into the Nauvoo Temple's theology. Yeah, and it's still embedded in our theology. Like, we still believe that men can be sealed to multiple women. So which prophet is lying, Joe or Brigham or both? Neither of them. Neither of them are lying. Brigham is not perfect. He can say things that are not true. He never deliberately said that in an effort to lie. Anyway. Question, shouldn't something that claims to be ancient actually have an ancient artifact? Yes, but no. Is the Book of Mormon ancient? We believe so. Is there any artifact to prove it? Yes, but not like with the certainty that you'd want. And this is where we get down into the last bit of it here. I say, you can look at this on the video unless he takes down these comments, because I in fact did tell him that I was going to make a video. Oh shoot, that's his name there. Oops, we're deleting that. I mean, you're going to see it on the video anyway. I tried. So I was like, dude, AI is not helping you. It's making all these bogus claims and you're just believing it. And then I was like, whatever, you're mistaken. And then I answered his question. And then he did all this other stuff where, oh, the Bible claims to be ancient and we have ancient texts. Yes, we do, because the Bible was passed down through a known area in a place that was continually inhabited for long periods of time by the same people. We would expect there to be a text of some sort. I'll tell you what we don't have, though. We don't have originals of any of the books. All we have are copies on copies. The Book of Mormon claims to be ancient. No ancient texts and no archaeological support. This isn't true. I bring it up. No ancient evidence of the Book of Mormon. That's just false. Here's Nahum, Bountiful. Look these things up. I didn't, and he even claims I made this up, which is just, he's not doing research if he says I made that up, because I didn't. This is Book of Mormon evidence that has been recently discovered. Anyway, I'm not going to get into any more detail on this. As you can see there, I have 13 pages of this thing. And this is, I think I've made my point. And honestly, go look at the comments yourself. Read his responses. Read my responses. Do what you want. Type it into AI. Do some research. Um, but my overall point with this video is that anti-Mormons do not want to learn. They don't care about the religion. They don't care about the gospel. They don't care if they are correct or not. They just want you to be wrong. And they're willing to do anything. They're willing to overlook any double standard, anything to get their way. For example, he wants me to prove the Book of Mormon's real by producing an artifact. Okay, let's transit this thought over to miracles. Science has proven that a man cannot just walk on the water. Man cannot walk on water. Science has proven this. So show me how Jesus did it. Show me it's possible. You now have to provide evidence that happened, because we have evidence that says it didn't happen. And again, I'm not saying that I don't believe Jesus walked on water. I do believe that. I just know that no evidence doesn't mean no proof. Or no evidence, no proof doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's my point. He's trying to say, well, because we have no evidence of the Book of Mormon, there's no proof that it happened, therefore it didn't happen. And that's just totally, there are tons of things in the Bible that we just don't have evidence for. Talking donkeys, bears that are mauling people to death, waters being parted multiple times. There is literally no archaeological evidence at all of where the Red Sea crossing happened. There's a bunch of fake ones out there where they try to say they found chariot wheels or whatever. So, anyway, push come to shove, the point of this video is I just wanted to expand on why you can't expect to have meaningful conversations with anti-Mormons. So that's the purpose of this video. I will not be responding to this guy anymore. I did to make this case study. But I am not going to be responding to this guy anymore. And I'm not going to be responding in general, but I will respond to people who have critical opinions. That, if you go look at some of my other shorts, I do have comments from actual genuine people who are making genuine comments. And those people are awesome, in my opinion. They're putting in the effort. Good for them. This guy is typing the title of my video into AI and having AI tell me exactly where I'm wrong, which just isn't a good way to do research. I'm not saying you can't use AI for research, and I definitely used AI because I wanted to showcase how AI can be turned the other way, and I sent him AI generated responses that completely dismantled his argument, and he still just kept arguing. So if you're fighting an anti-Mormon, don't get discouraged. I actually found this whole interaction hilarious. Just the bravado and arrogance that you need to have to tell someone that they haven't done research on something that you haven't researched yourself is just incredible. And I find that just hilarious. Anyway, I'm not going to make any more videos like this where I'm going through comment sections. And I can't guarantee I'm not going to engage people like this in comment sections, because I do like to show audience members that there is alternative viewpoints. But I'm not going to be responding to this guy anymore. Just because it's so obvious that he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I don't feel like anyone is going to be confused looking at his comments. They're just going to be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, don't be discouraged with anti-Mormons. I hope this helps. I'll see you guys in the next one.